If you've recently purchased a Thermador Professional or drop-in gas cooktop, probably the first thing you've noticed is that you are now cooking with some pretty powerful BTUs. And it might not be a bad idea to reevaluate your cookware. So, today I'm going to show you the types of cookware we use here in the showroom and give you some tips on how to have success handling that fabulous high heat. Here in the showroom we use a variety of cookware. We use cast iron, aluminum, and stainless steel and copper. We prefer not to cook with non-stick cookware, and in this very first segment I'm going to show you how you can turn a stainless steel pan into a non-stick pan, scramble some eggs, and have absolutely no residue stuck to the pan. Here's how I do it. Unless you're boiling water on your cooktop, we find that the best setting for heating your pans is just below medium. When you have a stainless steel pan, it can actually be a fabulous cooking surface if it's heated evenly throughout. Now this is a very good quality all-clad pan which has layers of metal going all the way through. So to take advantage of the well-crafted materials, let's heat it up evenly. And then we should find that it's going to cook very evenly for us as well. So to make my eggs, I'm going to add a little pat of butter to the pan. And then how the butter melts is a good indication of how hot the pan is. As long as it doesn't turn brown, you are in good shape. Now, if you like to cook your eggs fast, you can turn the heat up a little bit now. If you like to cook them slow, then just keep it nice and low. Stir, stir, stir. And look at this. It's like the surface of the pan is like an ice skating rink. And that's what you want. Controlled cooking on high heat is the key. I know you see the chefs cooking on high heat all the time, but they're chefs and they're feeding a lot of people. You're a home cook and you have to do the shopping, prepping, and cleanup. So make it as easy on yourself as possible. So there you go. Perfectly cooked scrambled eggs and a nice clean pan that won't require too much cleanup. When it comes to cooking grains on the cooktop, people absolutely hate having boilovers because boilovers mean cleanup. There's absolutely no reason for you to have a boilover with your Thermador cooktop because yes, you have great power, but you have great control, and that's what we're going to use. So by all means, use a slightly higher setting to bring the water to a boil. Add the rice, a dash of salt, and give it a stir. Now you put the lid back on and drop the burner setting to simmer. After about 10 minutes, you're probably going to see some bubbles start to come up around the side of the pan, and that's a great time to use the extra low setting. You can put it on the first extra low setting where the burner will be on for 53 seconds and off for 7. Just having the burner turn off that little bit will cook the rice to perfection without any rice boiling out of the pan. Or if you're not in a hurry to get your rice cooked in 15 to 20 minutes, you can even turn it down to the lowest setting and let it sit there for a good half an hour or 40 minutes. It will be cooked to perfection and the pan will not be scorched. However, because you are cooking on such a powerful burner, we do recommend that your stainless steel pan is a solid pan, not a flimsy pan. And of course, the lid should be a tight-fitting lid. It's so easy to cook without making a huge mess on these cooktops. Just learn how to work with the control aspect of the heat rather than the power all the time. Now we're searing some chicken pieces, some skin-on chicken pieces in an aluminum skillet. I did put a little bit of vegetable oil in the skillet. Remember, when you are cooking with high heat, it's much better to use an oil that is heat tolerant. So I'm using some safflower oil, which is holding up well. I got the pan nice and hot on medium setting, and then I've turned it up a little bit to let the chicken brown. But you know how on the barbecue, you let the barbecue get hot, you put the meat down, and you don't turn it until it releases? I'm using exactly that same premise here for the chicken. Now in this stainless steel skillet, I'm sauteing some onions. And now that they're translucent, I'm going to stir in a little bit of garlic. Now if you do this on super high heat, first of all, it will be hard to get your onions translucent. They'll go straight to the blackened stage. And it's so nice to let the aroma of garlic release rather than burn. So, nice controlled cooking. Once your garlic has started to soften a little bit, then if you need to, you can put the heat up just a little bit and then stir in your vegetables. But when you cook this way, not only does your food taste really good, but cleaning up the cooktop is so much easier. Now let's see how we did with these chicken pieces. There you go. They're releasing nicely from the pan. Now, when you get these brown bits stuck to the bottom of the pan, don't despair, because once we discard the fat and we deglaze the pan, we're going to have some very delicious juices to add to the chicken and the vegetables to make a wonderful, flavorful dish. So you might be asking yourself, with all of this high heat, when am I going to use it? Well, I'm going to show you. When you want to brown a large cut of meat like this, big chuck roast, oh, it's a heavy one. This is the perfect time to use really much more heat. Now this is a large cast iron pan, good old Lodge, and I heated the pan for a long period of time on very low heat. So I got my beautiful, beautiful hot skillet. When I put the meat in, because it's so large, now I put the heat up to medium-high, and because the pan's so perfectly heated, do you notice how fat is not jumping out of the pan? Smoke is not rising? This is what controlled cooking gives you. It gives you the ability to really focus on the food and do a good job cooking it. Now that the pan is nice and hot, I'm going to let the meat sit there quite a few minutes, probably 3 to 4 minutes, so we do get that nice browning and searing on one side. Then I'm going to turn it, get the nice searing on the other side, and then I'll finish cooking it in the steam oven, because that's where we like to do all of our braising. But this is where high heat is really fabulous. It gives us the ability to sear these really large cuts of meat without losing the heat. But before you use that high heat, heat the pan on nice moderate heat. It'll be a much better cooking tool. Kale has become an extremely popular vegetable in the last few years, and cooking kale on a high heat cooktop requires just a bit of skill, because if you have the heat way too high, then it will pull all the moisture out of the leaves and then they'll just stick and burn. So I got the pan hot over moderate heat, added my olive oil and a little garlic, and then added the kale in, and now it's just softened beautifully. To finish cooking the kale, you can add a little chicken stock or a little water and put the lid on and just let it sit on a low simmer for the kale to soften. Now, cooking fish can strike terror into people's hearts because it's expensive and you don't want to ruin it. So I'm using an enameled cast iron pan to cook my fish. This is fresh halibut. You know how I started? The pan got hot over moderate heat. Because cast iron holds its heat so well, I actually don't have to use a lot of power. I'm using the control. So let's see how I did. Isn't that beautiful? This fish spatula really helps too. I can get right under the fish and turn it. So you can see, you can create a perfect non-stick surface, not by using copious amounts of oil or butter, but by heating your pans over moderate heat. Every pan you cook with relates differently to heat. So my recommendation is go low, go slow, until you understand how each one of your pans relates to the burners on your new Thermador cooktop. If you are buying a new cookware set, then my recommendation is start off with one pan, see how you like it before you splurge on the entire set. We love cooking on our Thermador cooktops. They give us the power we want, they give us the control, and the cleanup is so easy because we use them correctly.